Hello, Maths Legends. Today we're going to look at backtracking and trying to find out an unknown quantity when looking at number sentences.
Alright, so when we start looking at number sentences and unknown quantities, it's important that we use backtracking. Now, there's some vocab or some language that we need to remember when we're doing. The first word I'm going to use is inverse. Inverse means that it's the opposite or we're going to change. So for an example, the inverse of an addition is a subtraction, and vice versa. Subtraction, the inverse is addition. Multiplication, the inverse is division, and division, the inverse is multiplication. Now when we look at order of operations, we normally look at BIMDAS or BOMDAS. So if we have a think, we always start off with brackets, then we do indices or order, which are things like power 2, then we do multiplication and division, and then we finish with addition and subtraction. Now, when we're doing backtracking, we work backwards, so we start with subtraction and addition. After we finish those, we move to division and multiplication, and then we move to either indices or the orders of power, and then we finish off with brackets. So brackets always goes last. Now that's really important when we start to look at the ones that we're going to do today, because there are a lot of brackets in these. Alright, so let's have a look at a couple down the bottom. And you can see here that we're trying to find where the square is. And it says a square plus 10 in brackets divided by 2 equals 7. Now, some of us would already know the answer because you can work it out in your head and you know what probably the missing part is, but there's a really easy way of doing this when we backtrack. So what we do is we write out a new sum and we look at it and we go, well, we know what our answer is, so let's start with 7. And then we're going to look at the first part outside of the brackets. It says divided by 2. Now the inverse of divided is multiply. So we're going to multiply by 2. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have a look and see what's in the brackets, and we're going to say it's add 10. Now the inverse to adding is take away, and we know that the number was 10. So now if we work that out, we would go brackets first. 7 times 2 is 14. Take 10, which would mean that our answer for the box should be 4. So if we go back to double check, we would go 4 plus 10, because that's the brackets, is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and we know that the answer is right. So you can see I've worked it out using backtracking. We'll try it again the next one. We've got something times 3 in brackets, take away 4 is equal to 11. So let's start again. We start off with the number that we already know, which is 11. That's our answer. We look at what's outside the brackets first, which is take 4. So the inverse of take away or its subtraction is add. So we're going to add 4. Now we're going to put it in brackets because we need to do it first. Then what we're going to do is look what we've got in the brackets, and the bracket says times 3, so we're going to do the inverse, which is divided by 3. Now if I then work that out, we go 11 plus 4 is 15, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So if we go back and now double check, our square should be 5, so 5 times 3 is 15, 15 take 4 equals 11. So well done, we're on the way. Now we're going to have a look at these. You can see I've done the first one for you. We've got something times 4 in brackets, take away 10 is equal to 2. So if we were to make that inverse, we would go 2 plus 10 in brackets, divided by 4 equals the answer. So 2 plus 10 is 12, divided by 4 equals 3. So that's our answer. What I'd like you to do is stop the video now and have a go at the next 4 for me, and then I'll come back and I will go through them and make sure that we're right. Hopefully I'll get all the answers right. I know I made a couple mistakes on the last one. I'm really sorry. Alright gentlemen, stop the video now and have a go. Alright, now that you've had a go, let's go through the answers. So we know we start off with our answer, which is 14. We look at what's outside the brackets, add 5, so we go take away 5. We need to do it first, so we put brackets around it. Inside the brackets then we have divided by 2, so the opposite or the inverse to divided by 2 is times 2, and that should then give us our answer. So 14 take 5 is 9, times 2 is 18. On the next one, we start with our answer. We then take away 80, so that would be add 80. Well, that doesn't look like an add sign. And then we put it in brackets because we need to do it first. And then we're going to divide by 9 because it's the inverse of times 9. So 1 plus 80 is 81 divided by 9. I know 9 squared is 81, so 9 would be the answer. The next one, we start off with our answer. We look at what's outside the brackets. It's times 7. We're going to inverse that. We're going to put it in brackets because it needs to be done first, and then we're going to take away the 5 that we have left over. So 70 divided by 7 is 10, take away 5 is 5. And the last one, start with our answer. Inverse would make it divided by 5. Put it in brackets because we need to do it first, and then we're going to add 1 to finish. So if we have a look here, we go 80 divided by 5 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Alright, hopefully, gents, that makes things a bit clearer. I know that it is a little bit confusing in patches, but if you can write down your BOMDAS and flip it around, then it should help you to go through your processes and go through your steps correctly. If you have any issues, please write down your notes into your diary and bring them to class during master classes. I'd finish off with a joke today. What did the fish say when he hit the wall? Damn. Thanks, guys.